So hello everyone, it's the Cricket Connoisseur here and welcome to the first 2020 IPL preview show. On today's show, I'm joined by cricket fanatic Ananda B. Pandit, and on today's show we're going to be covering the defending champions of the IPL, the mighty Mumbai Indians. So first things first, Ananda, thank you very much for coming onto the show today, mate. How excited are you to see the Mumbai Indians in action in 2020?
Well, firstly, thank you so much for having me on the show. And I've been following you since you were about 120 followers, and I've seen you grow into someone who really knows his cricket, carries himself off with a lot of confidence, and definitely knows his stats in and out. And it's just been amazing to see the kind of content you've been sharing on Instagram. So I do think the world of cricket needs more people like you. So we're all open to a lot more of everyday people's opinions on cricket, and it's not just the experts talking all the time. So it's great to have content like this, on social media. So great job to you to begin with. And and to answer your question, I'm super excited. I mean, it's been what now, a year and a half since the last IPL, and we all remember that final with Mumbai Indians. So I'm hoping they continue where they left off, and this preview will be very exciting as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's first of all kick off the preview show then with the squad. Okay, they have pretty much kept the skeleton of last year's title-winning team. So to go through the team one by one, we start off with the captain, Rohit Sharma, Surya Kumar Yadav and Mulpreet Singh, Shafane Rutherford, Chris Lynn, Saurabh Tiwari, Karan Pollard, Hardik Pandya, Krunal Pandya, Digvijay Deshmukh, Prince Balwant Roy Singh, Ishan Kishan, Aditya Tare, Quinton de Kock, Rahul Chahar, Anakul Roy, Giant Yadav, Jasprit Bumrah, Mitch McClenaghan, Trent Bolt, Dawal Kulkarni, Nathan Coulter-Nile, Mohsin Khan, and the replacement for Lasith Malinga, James Pattinson. But before we talk about the strengths and weaknesses, Ananda, let's just quickly touch upon that point. No Lasith Malinga. How big of a loss is that going to be to the Mumbai Indians in 2020?
Well, I mean, it's a huge loss in terms of Malinga is incomparable, right? In T20, he's in a league of his own, and Mumbai Indians is lucky that Bumrah has come up under him, and we've seen what Bumrah has become as well. So, I mean, the combination of Bumrah and Malinga together would have been lethal. So, to take nothing away from Malinga, and yes, of course, it's a huge loss, but I do think that it lends itself an opportunity to Mumbai Indians to figure out the future as well. We've had Malinga since the beginning, so it's a lot of dependency, and I like that Mumbai Indians isn't a team like some of the other IPL teams that rely on one or two players. So it does give us a few opportunities to sort of explore our fast bowling options. And one of the strengths, which we'll get to later about this Mumbai Indian squad, is you've got fast bowlers coming out of every corner of the squad. You've got quality in the fast bowling department, and Malinga not being there gives us an opportunity, like I said, to test out the future. And you've got Bolt in the squad and Pattinson as his replacement, McClenaghan. So you've got enough options, and I do think that having Malinga as an international fast bowling option who would have walked into the 11, not being there gives you an opportunity to try out a different combination possibly than what you've been used to in terms of the international player balance in the years that have we've seen in the past.
Yeah, definitely. And that's a fantastic point. And we'll talk about those combinations later. But the one thing with Malinga, just to look at his stats, he's the leading wicket taker in IPL history, 170 wickets with a 16.62 strike rate. That is absolutely phenomenal. And then we spoke about just a few minutes earlier, he conceded only 7 runs in that final over of the 2019 final. That won Mumbai Indians the trophy in 2019. Defending 9 runs, conceded only 7. Mumbai win by 1 run. So they are going to miss him. But as you said, and we'll actually go into the strengths now, that is a huge strength of the Mumbai Indians, and that is variation in the pace attack. So Nanda, did you just want to kind of go through their pace attack? Who do you think is going to be really shining for the Mumbai Indians in this seam battery in 2020?
See, depending on the combination, but people who walk into the 11, in my opinion, in the fast bowling department, obviously Bumrah first, right up there. Trent Bolt, you've got world number 1, world number 2, leading your pace bowling attack. You couldn't ask for more, especially, death bowling. They're both gun bowlers. They're going to make a huge difference. My third choice of fast bowler would actually, and we'll get to the playing 11s eventually, but would it be Dawal Kulkarni, because he lends that reliable Indian fast bowling option to you. But if that doesn't work down the line, you have a wealth of options like Mitchell McClanahan, superb record in the UAE, fantastic bowler who's won games for Mumbai Indians and can tonk a few into the state, into the empty stands every now and then, and get the crowds going. So you do have a few good options, and then Pattinson and Nathan Coulter-Nile as further fast bowling options. So I don't think Mahela Jayawardene and Rohit Sharma could ask for too much more than that.
No, and as you said, the majority of these bowlers, well, actually every single one of them has IPL experience. Bolt, Bumrah, Kulkarni, Pandya, Pollard, McClenaghan, Coulter-Nile, they have got an embarrassment of riches in the seam department, really. And yeah, those guys are going to be absolutely integral to Mumbai's success this season. In addition to those guys, we can't talk about Mumbai and not talk about their top seven. It's arguably the strongest in the entire tournament. The likes of Sharma, de Kock, you can bring in Chris Lynn, Surya, Yadav, Kishan, Pollard and the Pandya brothers. Ananda, just how key is that top seven to Mumbai Indians' success in 2020?
It's everything. I mean, you've got Quinton de Kock, who's been in the form of his life as well since taking over South African captaincy in white ball cricket, especially. You've got Rohit Sharma, which I was going to come to. He's an interesting person here for me. He's due a big season. If you see Rohit Sharma's average in the last 3 years, it's 25.6 in 2017, 18, 19 combined, with only 750s in 45 innings.
Wow.
That sounds like something is brewing up there with Rohit Sharma. And if this season comes good for him, unlike, again, some other IPL teams, it's not just the top three, right? You get Rohit going all guns blazing. You won an IPL tournament in 17. 2 out of the 3 tournaments you won in the last 3 years are part of Rohit Sharma's average of 25.6. So if Rohit Sharma comes good, Mumbai Indians have a really good chance of making it two in a row this year, because on the odd occasion he doesn't come good, you've got a brilliant middle order and even top order backing him up. Like you said, the quality of de Kock and Rohit at the top, or Lynn at the top even. I mean, Lynn can single-handedly win you a game in the first 6 overs if he wants. So you've got that quality backed up with, and I feel like a lot of teams have done it smartly this year with having a reliable number 4 option, and Mumbai Indians have the same with Surya Yadav. I think he's shown a lot of potential in the last few seasons, and again, due a big season. You've got all these brilliant players in the top and middle order who are due a big season, and you would usually say that for a squad that has potential of winning a tournament, and they don't. But here you've got a squad that's won tournaments with players who are just waiting to come big in this year or the next year. But the point is, you've got a lot of potential waiting to brew, and then 5, 6, and 7, whatever order you want. The 2 Pandya brothers and Pollard. Pollard's in the form of his life, playing in the CPL. Hardik and Krunal both just need a couple of innings to get going, and I mean, we've seen it happen in the past. So I think in terms of a well-balanced, settled top order, Mumbai Indians definitely take it in terms of the 8 IPL squads. I would say CSK had a balanced, that's what Mumbai and CSK had going for them. But with Raina out this year, I definitely think Mumbai Indians have the most balanced and settled, top 7 for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And you brought up that point about the team has pretty much been there and done that. That is a fantastic point, because when you have a look at their squad, really, they've retained 10 of the 11 players that featured in last year's title-winning season. They've retained 10 of the 11 players that featured in last year's final, and the only one who isn't there is Malinga. So it's a fantastically experienced core of players. Every single one of those guys in the top 7 can win a match. And even if they aren't fit, we haven't really spoken about this, but let's say one of them gets injured. You've got experienced IPL veteran options to have in the likes of Aditya Tare and Saurabh Tiwari as well. That Mumbai top 7, no matter what combination you go with, is extraordinarily strong. It really is. And I've no doubt that they'll be absolutely vital to Mumbai's success in this year's tournament. But of course, with any team, there aren't only strengths. There are weaknesses, and there is a glaring weakness to me in this Mumbai lineup, really, and that is a lack of spin options. Now, Ananda, what do you make of their spin attack? It does seem a little bit, not so much weak, but not as in-depth. It's not as deep as other teams and other franchises' spin attacks. What do you make of Mumbai's spin attack in 2020?
To begin with, I hope Rahul Chahar doesn't get injured, because that's it, right? You don't have a spin attack and you were preparing for Wankhede Stadium, you ended up in UAE. So that's why I think Mumbai Indians are vulnerable this year. We have Krunal Pandya as a reliable, tight, 4 overs for 30, 4 overs for 25, 4 overs for, on a bad day, 35. But that's fine. You need some spin bowler who can get in there and take your middle order, middle over wickets. You need 3 wickets or 4 wickets within your 2 spinners. Now, if you've got a Krunal Pandya on one end, you need a Rashid Khan or an Imran Tahir or someone like that on the other end to balance it out. Krunal Pandya is great, but he's not a Jadeja on the other end. So I do think that they missed the trick by trading Mayank Markande out, because if you had 2 young leg spinners in Markande and Chahar, if someone's not going through a good patch, you have the option to switch him out. Here you've got options in Anukul Roy, you've got options in who else is the spin option? Anukul Roy and Jayant Yadav. Yeah, Jayant Yadav, I mean, he's got a test century, he's played for India, but I don't think as a T20 bowler he's been as effective. I think he played for Delhi in the past, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, so I mean he's good, but like I said, you need a match-winning spin bowler, which Mumbai Indians has always had in Harbhajan Singh in the past. But I think after Harbhajan, they've not really invested in that backup option yet, and that's something they need to figure out. Hopefully, Rahul Chahar comes good and he's the answer. I mean, I'd be happy. But if not, you're right. The spin bowling option's a bit of a tight spot.
It does. It looks a bit thin. That's what I was trying to get at. And with regards to Rahul Chahar, he is the team's only out-and-out leg spinner. So I did just want to touch upon this, because obviously Mumbai did a like-for-like replacement with Malinga and James Pattinson. Would you have gone a bit different in terms of your thought process, Ananda? Would you have gone with an international leg spinner, potentially like Hayden Walsh, for example, or another leg spin option who you could bring with you to the UAE?
Hayden Walsh would have been a brilliant option. I remember you mentioned him on one of your lives a while ago as well. 100%, because like we discussed earlier, we have a wealth of fast bowling options. You've got if Pattinson's not there, if he wasn't there, you had Mitchell McClanagan and Nathan Coulter-Nile who could have come in. So yes, possibly, but I mean Pattinson is a great bowler. He'll be good. He'll be a good addition if he gets to play. But yeah, probably, especially after you traded out Mayank Markande, you had the option of bringing in a leg spinner.
Yeah, I'd agree. And as I said, it's not a glaring weakness, but you never know. It's the IPL. It's in searingly hot conditions in the UAE. All it takes is one injury, and that is going to be an extraordinarily thin bowling attack in terms of the spin options for Mumbai.
Fun fact, if we ever need to, we can always go to our 2-time IPL hat-trick taking spinning captain bowler Rohit Sharma.
Yeah,
he does have 2 IPL hat-tricks.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. Yeah, you never know. We could see Rohit Sharma turning the arm in the UAE. Wouldn't surprise us. It's 2020, isn't it? But yeah, so moving on from the strengths and weaknesses, I think we pretty much analysed the strengths and weaknesses quite well with Mumbai. And if anyone watching this at home or wherever you're watching this from has anything else to add, really, please do let us know in the comments. We're happy to take on any suggestions with regards to strengths and weaknesses. But moving on from the squad itself, let's focus in on a couple of individuals then, Ananda. Okay, so this is the one to watch out for segment. So this is looking at a player. They can be young. They could have maybe had a poor IPL in 2019 that we believe is going to be one to look out for as this tournament progresses. So Nanda, who's your choice really for this segment for the Mumbai Indians in 2020?
Without a doubt, Surya Kumar Yadav.
Great choice.
What about you?
Well, I've gone Rahul Chahar for quite obvious reasons. In 2019, 13 wickets, average of 23.69, 6.55 economy rate. He's such a fantastic young spinner. And as we said, he is their only out-and-out leg spinner. There's going to be so much pressure on him to deliver, to take wickets alongside the likes of Krunal Pandya. I feel like this is his tournament to really stake his claim in that Mumbai 11. And I actually do think that he will. He's a brilliantly young, gifted spinner, got great variations. He was absolutely phenomenal last year in both the IPL and the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy. For me, he's definitely my one to watch out for the Mumbai Indians in this year's tournament.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's an exciting bowler. Like I said, if he comes good, we said spin's the weak link in the squad. But if he comes good, you've got a squad with no weak links. So I don't blame you. It's a perfect choice for player to watch out for. For me, Surya Kumar Yadav, I've been seeing him for the last 3 or 4 seasons. with KKR at the beginning, now with Mumbai Indians. I just think that he's India quality. He can play for India if he comes good with this season. I know India's got a few options at number 4 with Shreyas Iyer and Manish Pandey, but he's right up there as the third option. And I think at some point in the near future, he will play for India as well. So it would be great to see Surya Kumar Yadav come good this season.
Yeah, definitely. I completely concur with that. Surya Kumar's such a fantastic batsman to watch. He really is. In particular, when he's in form, he's absolutely unstoppable. So let's talk a bit about Mumbai's starting 11 then, Ananda. I'm guessing Surya Kumar and Chahar are going to make it into both of our 11s. But I'll start with yours then, Ananda. Who do you think is going to be in the strongest 11 for Mumbai in the 2020 IPL?
So, like I said earlier when we spoke, there's a couple of options I have in terms of the squad, depending on the balance. In the interest of the show, I will choose my best 11 first, and after I name them, I'll tell you what and how I would have played around with it. I'd open with Quinton de Kock and Chris Lynn, not with Rohit for Mumbai Indians, at least to begin with. Just because I do believe what Lynn and Sunil Narayan brought to KKR with the right-left combination, you can have that with Lynn and de Kock. De Kock's take nothing away from Sunil Narayan. He's grown to be a great batsman to start your innings off with a quick fire 50. But if de Kock comes good, it's not just a 50. De Kock and Lynn can, if they both come good, it's going to be as lethal as Warner and Bairstow opening the innings for you. So I think there's a lot there that Mumbai Indians can explore, given Lynn the opportunity to just go berserk, knowing you have Rohit Sharma as that reliable number 3, followed by Surya Kumar Yadav. I'm not going to get too much into Rohit because, like I said, he's due a big season. It's his season. Hopefully we play KKR soon, and Rohit will be all set. Surya Kumar Yadav at 4, and then my 5, 6, and 7 completely depends on how many wickets down, at what stage of the game you're at, what's the target. But you've got both the Pandya brothers and Pollard at 5, 6, and 7. Literally doesn't matter. Any of them can bat at either of the positions, like we've seen, and take the game away from the opposition. Number 8, I've got Rahul Chahar. Number 9, I've got right now Dhaval Kulkarni because 4 internationals. Number 10 and 11, you've got Bolt and Bumrah. So that's my starting 11. I'd start the IPL with that. I know Lynn's not, had great returns in the UAE, and Mitchell McClanahan has had amazing returns in the UAE. So that's my option. If I had to swap out a player, I would probably bring in Mitchell McClanahan, take Chris Lynn out. But because of that, Dhaval Kulkarni would obviously also have to sit out, and I would bring in Ishan Kishan into the batting to reinforce that position of Chris Lynn as a batsman. And obviously then I'd have Quinton de Kock and Rohit opening with Surya Kumar at 3 and Ishan Kishan at 4. So that's my 2 variations of my squad.
Well, yeah, your second variation sounds a lot like mine then, Ananda. So I'll just quickly read out my 11. I've got Rohit and Quinton opening. Surya Kumar Yadav at 3, Ishan Kishan at 4. You mentioned the 3 Ps, Pollard, Hardik, Pandya and Krunal Pandya. Depends on the situation, but they're my 5 to 7. At number 8, I've gone Trent Boult. At number 9, I've gone Mitch McClanahan. Number 10, Rahul Chahar. And finally, rounding off the 11, Jasprit Bumrah. Who else? But with regards to my picks, I was thinking of Chris Lynn. And the only issue that I had was watching him in the CPL. And he struggled immensely against leg spin on turning wickets in the Caribbean. He's not in form. And that's the problem. For me, you look at some of the leg spinners in this tournament, every single team seems to have that elite caliber leg spinner in their team. I just feel like he could get found out quite early on in the tournament, so I wouldn't start with him. Maybe bringing him towards the end of the tournament, if that top 7 is struggling. That's how I would kind of manipulate and manoeuvre that 11 to fit Chris Lynn in or out of. With regards to Mitch McClanahan, you've already mentioned he has lots of experience in the UAE. Played in the PSL, did pretty well. He's a bona fide wicket-taking option. Him and Bolt could be absolutely lethal together. So I've chosen those 2 in tandem with Jasprit Bumrah. And Ishan Kishan. I like Ishan Kishan a lot. I understand that there is maybe some doubt with regards to his consistency. But again, we mentioned with Surya Kumar, those 2, imagine if those 2 got going. That'd be such a phenomenal 3 and 4 for Mumbai. plenty of power, plenty of boundaries. They'd get Mumbai some fantastic starts and take them deep into the innings. So I've gone Ishan Kishan at 4 in that scenario. But to anyone watching this at home, please do let us know your predicted lineups as well. Obviously, this is just our opinions. Everyone has their own thoughts on this subject, really. So please do let us know in the comments, and we'll go through them. But moving on from the 11 now, Ananda, we go into the final segment. And it's the one that everyone seems to love doing before the tournament, and that is the predicted finish. So I'll start with you again, Ananda. Where do you think Mumbai will finish in the 2020 Indian Premier League?
As you can see, I'm in blue today. I support Mumbai Indians. I love Mumbai Indians. I've been going to Wankhede to see their game since 2008. But
wow.
But I do think that this year we'll come third. We'll make the playoffs. I'd love them to be in the finals, but I do think it won't happen this year. There'll be something that will come loose at some point, unfortunately. I hope not, but I'd put my money on third.
That's a fair choice. I've thought slightly different. I've just gone purely off of paper here. So looking at the stability of that lineup, I've mentioned 10 of the 11 from last year's final winning team. I've put them top of the table. So I've actually got them at first. I've mentioned stability. They won't need to build that team chemistry and team bonds. They've already got it. The majority of this team played for Mumbai last season. They have the credentials. They have the ability to win big games. They've got match winners. They've got a fantastic balance in that lineup. And injuries aside, we've just mentioned there aren't really any weaknesses in that team. So for me, I'd say 1 or 2. But as we know, it's 2020. Anything could happen. All it takes is an injury and everything could fall apart.
If we're 1 or 2, I'd be really, really happy. We're talking about the entire season, or are we talking about the league phase?
Just the group stage. So I'll put them top of the group.
Maybe I'll go from 3 to 2, but still not 1. Still not 1. Some team's gonna figure out, like some team's gonna surprise us this year, and I'd love for that, for the sake of cricket, for the sake of having a new team possibly come out as a winner of IPL this year. I'd love that.
Yeah, so would I as an RCB fan. I'd love it to be our year. But yeah,
I do think RCB has a shot at taking it this year, so.
Oh, that's interesting. I was going to say that. I was going to say who you're thinking that will be the surprise favourites then, or surprise package.
I do think RCB or Delhi Capitals could be a surprise package this year.
Well, that's music to my ears. For those who don't know, I am in my RCB shirt, so yeah, fingers crossed, hopefully. But yeah, Nanda, that pretty much wraps up today's preview show. Just before we end, is there anything that you have to kind of plug or promote? Any social media channels, for example?
Not really. I just, just want to thank you for having me on this, on this chat. It's been really good fun. Even, getting my thoughts together before this, and in the lead up to IPL, it's excitement. It's anticipation, and I think all of us cricket fans just can't wait to have the season rolling and kick back for a month and a half of amazing cricket action. So looking forward to all your match summaries, which for those of you watching who are new to following the Cricket Connoisseur, I have never seen a match summary go up within 30 seconds of a match finish, but this man does it. So keep following the Cricket Connoisseur. That's the only profile I'm plugging here tonight. So yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Ananda. And of course, thank you very much for coming on to the show today. It's been an absolute pleasure. And for anyone watching at home, if you have any thoughts on today's video, please do let us know in the comments down below. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel as well. Click the subscribe button. We've got plenty of content coming up as the IPL and the Big Bash later on in the year progresses. But that is it for today's video. Thank you as always for tuning in. And as always, guys, enjoy the rest of your day.